Lady Luna starts us off in the fiery sign of Leo for the UN's International Day of Peace on the 22nd. The sun will move into the sign Libra at 9:04 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as the fall equinox. On the 23rd, the moon moves into the sign of Virgo as well as Mercury. And 25th, Lady Luna is entering the sign of Libra at 12:43, just in time for our new moon at 5:55 p.m. The Lady Luna will end out the week in the sign of Scorpio, and look at that lineup. Let's talk about that indeed. Merry meet and welcome, everyone. This is the Astro Tarot Show, and I am your celestial host, Serona Rose. So, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and like I have talked about before, these last few months of the year is really going to be a little chaotic. There's a lot of change that's happening. And this time of year, today is the 21st of September. So this is when we are preparing to go into the Libra season, which is a sign of balance. We are also getting ready to celebrate the fall equinox, which is also called Mabon. And I will talk a little bit about that and discuss that and bring some clarity to what that means. So first, today, the 21st, is the UN's International Day of Peace. So I think that is really needed in our world today because of all the chaos that's happening. But you see, this energy is something that happens in a way every year because this is a time of change. This is a time of stress. A lot of people are really stressed right now, feeling overwhelmed, and just, things seem to, really get at some people. So, that's what represents the fall equinox, is a shift in energy. And I'm going to talk about Mabon really quick. And this is from something I wrote a long time ago. And I do like to write something new every Sabbath, every time that wheel turns, because every year is revealed a deeper layer of life and the experience of that previous year. So this is actually from 2020 when I wrote this. And Mabon, the fall equinox, the autumnal equinox, is the time of the year when the goddess and god are considered equal. This is when they are both standing eye to eye. We are entering the sign of Libra, which is about balance. Equinoxes are an astronomical point as the earth wobbles at its axis. Just slightly, though. It occurs when the sun crosses the equator as it descends south. After Mabon, the darkness will be greater than the day. And this represents the end of the month of the vine and the beginning of the ivy month. At this time, many of us may be under great stress with difficult situations, but this is normal with change. As we are entering into a new season or a new cycle, we can always expect this rocking of the boat, so to speak. So all of this chaos and that change brings is a little ironic because we think of Libra as balance, but it's learning to find balance within that chaos, learning to give and take, so to speak. And it's very important that when we are seeking balance, that we are releasing those things that no longer serve us, that no longer is healthy for us. And we have to release those no matter how comfortable they may make us feel. And that can be very, very hard. Using the tree calendar by Robert Graves, the vine and the ivy are the only two of the month trees which grow spirally. And the spiral, particularly the double spiral, winding and returning, is a universal symbol of reincarnation. The bird of the autumn equinox is the swan, which is another symbol of the immortality of the soul. This Sabbath wasn't always celebrated by the ancient Celts. It wasn't until the Roman influence and others that they began celebrating the different Sabbaths. And this one was more of the Roman influence. The autumn equinox represents harvest season, and at this time, the ancient Celts were very busy clearing the fields, preparing the animals, and getting ready for the winter months ahead for the survival of their people, their tribes, their clans. Mabon comes from Welsh mythology, literature, from a prominent figure, son of Modron. So what or who is Mabon? Modron. As with any Celtic myths, Mabon is thought to be an actual person. He was referred to as the divine son, the son of light. And he is the god of sex, love, magic, prophecy, and power. Also known as the Gaulish god Meponos, meaning young boy in Gaulish. His mother was Modron, Dea Modrana, and his father Urien, who is a deity of the underworld. So, in the book of Taliesin, Meponos is referred to as the chief of the glittering west. As an infant of days old, Mabon was taken from his mother and held captive for eons within the walls of Gloucester, found within the Mabinogi under the tale of Coldwick and Olwen. So let's look at that. The chief of the glittering west. The west is the land of the setting sun. And as we are entering into our fall, we are entering into the darker half of the year. Now, that shift is, made completely during Samhain, which is October the 31st, which is commonly known as Halloween. That is when we officially go into the dark half of the year. But now we are making that descent. So it's the glittering, it's the moments that you're realizing, you're looking back at your life and those places where you have been, and you're learning what has worked, what hasn't worked, and so forth. And for me, I jotted down a little bit about what I felt with this fall equinox with Mabon. I feel that, it is the new moon that we're going to be talking about. It's happening a little bit later than it should, but I feel that this equinox is going to be bringing in a new energy. And this new energy is seeking further than the surface of things. We've been under an illusion that has caused us great struggle. And there is a such thing as over caring or over tending to something. So as we are going into this air season, we have to look at what we have been holding on to tight to. Air is freedom, it flows, it likes to not have those restraints. And in order for us not to have those restraints, we always have to find that middle road with things, moderation. And, you know, sometimes we can give too much to something, and we can bend so much that we actually break. So with this stress, it is about, you know, we have been our nose to the grindstones. We have been so focused on, you know, and that's been the majority of a lot of us, is focusing on work and on, you know, you get up, you work, you come home, you eat, you go to bed, you do it all over again. Whereas there's many gaps that are within our life. And this creates a lot of unhealthy habits, as well as depression and so forth. So we're being pressured. You know, we have been pressured into finding happiness with material things, like, you know, oh, you have to work 100 hours a week so you can have that big Cadillac Escalade out in your yard. And, you know, you have to have the biggest, finest house. And this is the change that's happening, because people are realizing that that's not what life is about. We have, that part has been broken because it has been over tended to. And it has left us, because we are humans, with some gaps. You know, happiness begins within us. You know, we aren't our titles. You know, people, you ask people how they are, and they will start going into what they do for a job. You know, how would you describe yourself? And they start talking about what they do. It's like, no, who are you? Who are you? And if you're so preoccupied in something else, you know, you can lose that identity of yourself. So I feel that this equinox is kind of reeling us in and saying, hey, you know, there's another spiritual part of us that we need to consider. We need to fill in these gaps. And that's what's been happening with our astrology. And that's what it has been, that's what it's been showing us, when it's showing us that, you know, we have to live from, you know, what are we impassioned about? What do we want to do? Not what we have been told we have to do. What do we want to do? Do we want to be a painter? Do we want to be a sculptor? All of this different stuff. So that is one thing that, you know, we are being guided to. Again, this is a shift. This is a shift, and we're being called to look deeper than than what is just in front of us, the surface. Look deeper than the surface to find more meaning. Now, Libra, again, is about balance, and that's really where we're trying to bring that about. Now, the moon and Mercury will move into Virgo on the 23rd. Now, remember, Mercury is retrograde, and he is moving out of Libra, which is balance, into Virgo, which is practicality. So this is going to change. The energy is going to change a bit, because it's going to go from, let's be fair to everybody, where, you know, at this point we just got to be practical. This is not going to work. You know, we've tried this, we've tried communicating like that, and now it's the point where we're just going to have to be very practical about things. So it's, you know, we have to remember that this energy is not really going to be about fairness, but so we're going to have to bring that to the table. The moon will pass Mercury, and some info will definitely be exchanged, information. This will be on a sensitive level. So within this could be with the emotions, something that we are emotionally connected to, a shift into that. So the moon rules over our emotions and moon, and that is our inner self. So this is something that we could be realizing, like an inward kind of thing, you know, looking at our outside world and just kind of doing that. the moon is, our inner self. That is what shapes our soul. And we're having to look at what we have done this past year, where we have placed our energy, where we have placed our attention. And we're looking at all of that. This new info, it can have us really looking at many different things in our lives about, friendships, relationships, because Libra is about relationships as well. And it's about balance and relationships. And we're going to be looking in all of them. We're going to be looking in our close, personal relationships, whether they be romantic or regular friendships. So we're going to be looking in our partnerships as far as jobs and things like that. With Virgo, it's about the details. And, the devil is, it is said that the devil is in the details, but many times when you start looking at these little details, those can add up to a big something, So as Virgo is tapping us into those details, Mercury could be warning us. Mercury is warning us to not place our eggs in one basket, to not place our security into material things, into things of this world. That should not be our security. To not place our security, our identity into things like cars, possessions, to learn that there's something bigger, and to look at the relationships that we have around us. As they pass, this message will carry, this message is going to carry forward with Lady Luna. So she's going to be bringing this message to other planets that when she passes by, right? So our emotions will shift, and they will begin to start being more of a balanced nature. So that balanced nature is going to allow healing to take place. And it's also going to allow balance to take place in our relationships as well. And I will say that things are changing globally. I mean, this is not just in the United States. I talk a lot about the United States, but as we look around, we can look at different countries. We can look at what's going on over in England. We can look at what's happening in Australia, in China, Venezuela, and so forth. There's a lot of chaos that's happening. There's a change, and it's showing. We're really being shown some clarity that is not exactly pretty. Now, another energy I want to talk about, and it's going to kind of dominate especially the rest of this year, is Uranus and Saturn. And I touched on this the last show. It's going to be adding fuel to the fire. So this is the last meeting that Uranus and Sagittarius you're going to be having. And it's really calling that. Remember, Saturn is about restriction, and Uranus is about freedom. Uranus says, we haven't taken it far enough. And Saturn says, oh, but you've taken it too far. That kind of thing. So it's like a push and pull. Also, Saturn is our past. And it represents Saturn's zodiac sign is Capricorn. So this represents our government, and it represents the way that we always have done things, the rules, the safety for all sort of thing. And it's about centralization, whereas Uranus is about decentralization. Uranus is about freedom, and it's the planet of the future. It shakes away the past of what is no longer needed, and to step it up. It wants to go further. It wants to make better. It's like, okay, I understand this is the way that we've always done things, and we can see what that happens. So we obviously know that we need to change some things. So let's do it. Uranus wants to shake away. It wants to shake away the old. It wants the new. It has this vision of a future that it wants to fulfill, right? So this also goes into our Earth. Our Earth has been having a lot of earthquakes. I don't know if you've been keeping up with that, but there's a lot of earthquakes that's been happening. This goes into our money. We see what's happening with our money right now, as well as our food. Many people are opting to take control of their food more by becoming gardeners, planting gardens, even in their front yard. And that's a wonderful thing. I grew up that way. Unfortunately, I'm having to learn to go back that way, but that is a good way to live. So October is going to bring us an eclipse season. So this is going to be bringing some more intense energy. And this is going to be coming from that. Now, Jupiter is at the midpoint between Uranus and Saturn. And this is a breakthrough kind of energy. It's also waking us up to a reality. And we can have a big reality check with Saturn. So Jupiter will aspect with Saturn first, and that's going to really give us a reality check of what's going on. It's going to show us that structure of that kind of that centralized control. And then he's going to be like, when he goes forward and has an aspect with Uranus, it's going to say, no, that's not working anymore, and break that away. So we can have some really breakthrough kind of energy through the end of this month and into October. I really feel that a lot of us are going to be seeing things in a totally different way. So yeah, shake up, shake up, shake up. Now, let's talk about our new moon. Our new moon is going to be bringing in a lot of energy. Our new moon will be in Libra at 5:55 p.m. That's Eastern time. You will need to adjust for your time zone. And this will be at 2 degrees and 49 minutes. So, normally we would round that up to 3 degrees. So I want to talk about the Sabian symbol here, because this is so important. And I did the Sabian symbol for 2 to 3 degrees of Libra. And I really want to include this because I really feel this energy is so important, because this is really going to be one of those new moons that you're really going to want to take advantage of. The Sabian symbol for this is rise up light as a feather. And that represents you're at a threshold. You are at this threshold where you can either go forward or not. So the full definition of the Sabian symbol is the light of the sixth race transmuted to the seventh. So this is evolutionary type energy. And when it was changed a little bit, because when they were reading the Sabian symbols, it didn't quite, it's like, what exactly does that mean? The sixth generation, going to the seventh. This is about evolution. This is about energies shifting, and shifting for the better. Atma Vidya, which is in Hinduism, states that it's the truth of the self, that it's the fruition of the past self that becomes the foundation of the new cycle. So this is going to be very important to have energetic intention. So he is saying the truth of self. That's the fruition of the past self. That becomes the foundation of the new cycle. So that's saying that the stuff that you have done in the past is going to be the foundation that you're laying for your future. So you see how that energy carries on, and we can transform it and we can use it. This is there and it is what it is until you intend it to go in a certain way. And this is where we get into that energetic intention, this new cycle of balancing our energies. What is fair? What is fair in our life? What hasn't been fair in our life? And these are the things that we're looking at. So with it being in Libra, we're going to look at this fairness in all of our relationships and partnerships that we have. We are beginning to kind of change. If this is an evolutionary concept and an evolutionary step, so to speak, we can look at how we have always done the same thing over and over and received the same message. This is why history is so important, and we read our myths. And to read the myths and understand them, it does take time, because there's so many metaphors and symbolisms. There's different things there that we have to look at, because we may read it as one thing, but it may be a metaphor for another. So it does take some digging. It does take going beneath that surface. It does take looking at the root of the word and going back to its roots and where it came from and what it meant, the energy that it contained at that time. So that is, we have to look a little bit deeper than what we've been looking. And I will say that in this time, this is a time for us, as new moons are. New moons, they pull us in, right? They want us to go inward. This is the dark. So it's about going inward. It's about doing that inner work. It's about working on those things, those inner, those things that are within us, not really on the outside, but those in your fears, things like that, insecurities, those kind of things. So it's a nice time to take a pause and to calibrate our energy. If it's Libra is about fairness. So, okay, where are we giving out our energy, and where is energy coming back to us? That has to be balanced. Also, and people really take offense to this when you say, don't cast pearls before swine. And people really take that in a wrong way, but it's like, it's like me giving you this wonderful high-tech machine that you have no idea how to use. So it just sits in your yard and it does nothing. If I don't give you the instructions on, oh, well, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, this is a 3D printer and here's the instructions and this is how you do it. If you don't have that information, what good is it to you? This is where we have to, this is a reality check that we're having to see. We can be pulled into an illusion so much, and man, I can see some people being lost in illusion of different things, and it's like, wow, and you can see how this change and how this is coming about, but it's trying to wake us up. Uranus loves that jolt. It just likes to pow you awake, right? It's like, whoa, what was that? And that is Uranus. That is Uranus all day. So this moon will be great to calibrate our energy, to find peace and harmony. That will definitely be heightened this moon. Also about, what do we need to work on next? Where are we going? This is a new moon cycle. Okay, so this is, where are we going from here? So intention, I should say, is really going to be important. Now, Libra is in the sixth sign, and this is about sharing of energy. Six is about the give and take. It's about energy you give out and energy you bring in. And if you look at the cards on the tarot, you will see that the meaning of the numerology in the tarot, that even goes there. So we are looking at our relationships, and we're looking at things around us, and we're saying, okay, what do I need to do different? What do I need to do to not get the same thing I get over and over and over again? Because I'm really tired of getting that. So the moon, the sun, Mercury, and Venus, they are all the only planets that are over on, this is taking place in the seventh house. So this is all over in that area. They are the only, and I showed you that picture at the beginning of it, and you can see they're the only planets on that side of the zodiac wheel. Mercury and in Virgo, this is about reconsidering things and analyzing things. And he will also be trining Pluto in Capricorn. So again, here's destroying the old to create the new. Pluto is retrograde as well, and he offers us a powerful truth that we need to see. We need to change the way that we do things. We need to, again, if we're stepping up, if this is an evolutionary process, then we need to change the way we do things so that we can do things in a more balanced manner. So, we do want to do a lot of things. There's many of us that wear many, many hats, and that can leave us overwhelmed big time. And we can let some things slide, and maybe we just are understanding at this point right now that there are some things that we are going to have to let go and let slide, and kind of see our way out of it, because it's just, that's just not for us anymore. It does not support where we are trying to go in our life. I want to, it's like, I want to work at being my higher purpose. And in working at being our higher purpose, we can't continually do the same old, right? So, Libra, it is going to give us its areas of expertise, and that is realization. This is about, personal. It's going to give us a big realization on our personal life and our relationships, and our life in general. This moon brings us new clarity. It gives us a new vision. It's going to be bringing things into focus for us. It's, there is a message here, and there is some clarity that's being offered here. We just have to see it. That's just the biggest thing. It's like, again, it's no good if you're not willing to find out how to do it, right? Find out how it works. This moon will also bring things into focus, as Venus has been opposing Uranus as well. And that has been given us a clouded vision. When Venus is opposing Uranus, Uranus can, she has been in, she's in Libra, and right now it's been clouding her vision over different things. So now it seems that the veil is lifting, and we are being able to see things in more of a clarity and maybe those things that, we really didn't want to see. Many times clarity can bring us realizations that can really break our heart, that can, put us in a place to where, we're having to close chapters and we're having to open them that are very, very emotional times and very close to us. Because this is, Mercury is a personal planet. And with Libra, this new moon, this is going to be hitting us in our immediate relationships. So the sun and the moon will also oppose Jupiter at 3 degrees, and Jupiter's retrograde as well. So this is about what you need and what matters to you, and what feels good. And this is also going into what you cannot compromise any longer. And this is also having to deal with relationships. This moon is, this theme is about balance of relationships. So when I'm talking about this, it's going into that personal life with us. It's going into our business relationships, our personal relationships, and so forth. So we are at the point to where we are fully wanting to own who we are and stand firm in that foundation. But it's also about what you need. And, we can't, if we need certain things, we shouldn't have to struggle with that. Also, Libra will do whatever it takes to make things work and to create that balance. So we have to be careful there. Libra is a sign that just wants balance. It just wants balance. But we can't compromise ourselves anymore for that balance. We have to understand that, if we're having to bend ourselves so much that we break, then it's time for us to carry on. It wants us to, it also wants us to see how things didn't last. This is going to be a moon that is going to bring us into some self-reflection, and we're going to really tap deep into that. We're getting to that point to where we are tired of sacrificing ourselves, and that we want to live in our truth, and we want to live with our values as well, because this is touching on our values and those things that we hold very close to our heart. So we're really going to be looking at making those choices in our lives that are going to work better for us, which is going to be for our highest potential. And that's where we need to be aiming. What is for our highest potential? We're going to be looking at why things haven't been working. Again, this is going to be a reflective moon. So we're really going to be looking, why did this not work? What happened? What did I do wrong? And it's this time of year anyway, because this is harvest. This is harvest. And as we are reaping what we have sown, we are also seeing, well, probably could have done that just a little bit better, right? And we are getting what we ask for, and it's just maybe not exactly the way that we thought it would work. Whereas when they were planting a garden, everything matters. You just throwing, there's some people who can just throw a seed in the ground and it can grow and be wonderful. But again, it depends on your dirt. It depends on your environment. You may have to add some type of fertilizer. You may have to add some type of different dirt. You have to, in order to have this beautiful seed that you want to grow, you have to make sure that its environment is fertile for it to grow in, or it will not grow. well, not the way that you wanted it to grow, so to speak. So be ready to transform, because I will say that this moon is about evolution and evolving, and it's really wanting us to transform and get past some of the some of that ickiness, that unbalance, that is just, it's clogging the energetic drains, so to speak. Now, Mars in Gemini, this is about a short-term goal, and he's chugging through there. Yes, he has slowed down, so things may be feeling like it's almost like you're going so fast, but you feel like you're not going. It's like things are happening quickly, but they're not. I know that's kind of it's messed up, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And Saturn, he will be sextiling Saturn in Aquarius, and he's retrograde. And that is about long term. Saturn looks at our long term. So sure, this may fix us right now, but what is it going to look like in 2 years? Okay, we want to do this. How are we going to do this? How are we going to sustain doing this? We have to keep projecting out and looking. Saturn, everybody has a problem with Saturn because it's the planet of restriction, but it shows us the boundaries, because it makes us, it keeps us real with ourselves. It's like, yes, this can happen, but how are we going to look in 2 years? Whereas Virgo wants to know all the hows, the ins and outs of the working. But Saturn wants us to responsibly go forward for the long haul. And with Saturn and Uranus square, that will come in effect again on the beginning of October. It is connecting us last year to the big Saturn and Uranus square. That is, I believe you can find that on my YouTube. I talked in depth about the Saturn and Uranus square. Again, this is the 3rd time and the last time that it's happening. So this is big energy, and it is a shaking away of what is broken. I will say that clarity is going to be coming. You can expect more things coming into light, scandals coming to the public, the backdoor deals will be coming more public. There's clarity that will be made with that, those type of things. So yeah, we have a lot of different things going on. And this moon, I will tell you, for this moon, and it is on the 25th, when we have this moon, it's really going to pull us inward into balance. It's really going to make us reflect on things, and especially with our relationships and our values. So we're really working at that. This peace and harmony is really going to be one the biggest emotion through this. But please make sure that you don't bend to your break, because then you'll be doing the same thing over and over again. Learn how to fix those. Learn how to fix those things that you did wrong. Okay, I should not have done that. Maybe I'll do it this way. This way will be better. So remember, we are looking at stepping forward, at evolving, and doing things from our highest good and our highest potential. Again, this is a time of change, and the winds of change are fully blowing right now. And this moon and this fall equinox, or the equinox will happen first, and then the new moon, this is going to bring that. And understand, think of the spiral. I know it's the Book of the Trees. It's by Robert Graves. I can get that again if you want to find out about that. Let's see here. It's by Robert Graves. It's the Book of Trees. And you can look it up. I'm not finding it, and I don't want to sit here and find it. So that is wonderful when you can find out about the vine and the ivy, and when we look at things on a deeper level. Again, guys, I urge you to do your research on things. When I talk about them, go find out for yourself and discover this wonderful world of information that is just at our fingertips, just wanting us to drink it all in. So thank you so much for watching the Astro Tarot, the astrology portion of the Astro Tarot show. If you give me a moment, we'll be back for the tarot part of the divination part of the show. Go get yourself a drink, and we'll get down to it. See what the cards and have to say to us. I'll see you then.